All right, here we go. A special edition live stream to kick off season 2 of the post-game show. CP from KnicksFanTV, my man Jay Ellis from the Nick of Time show. This is the number one show for the fans, by the fans, where we talk about Knicks news, Knicks rumors, and post-game live analysis featuring live callers. So if you're a diehard Knicks fan, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Special guest today.
Yeah.
Needs no introduction. Well, we're going to introduce him anyway. He's the co-host of the MSG 150 alongside Wally Serbiak and Bill Pito, covering the pregame show, the halftime show, the postgame show, and everything in between, all things Knicks. Yep. He's also the host of the Hahn show on ESPN Radio. Hahn Solo, the Knicks Fix is in the building. Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, we're like, what are we, 2-3 weeks away from training camp? And both football teams in New York are pretty much done at this point.
Done.
So, I'm ready. I'm ready to talk some hoops.
Done.
Let's go.
I was looking for a little bit of a reprieve. My Giants, I went to opening day. I always go to opening day. It's a tradition. Little did I know that was going to be Eli Manning's probable final start.
End of an era.
Amazing.
Man. Yeah. Another guy gets kicked out the door. Another New York legend gets kicked out the door. But
it's tough.
Yeah.
How do you handle the exit of your hero that's been here for so long?
Well, it's when he stays too long. And I'll tell you what, it's kind of similar to Ewing in a way. Obviously, Eli at least won championships, but it's the same thing. When it gets to the end and the team and everybody watching, if anybody remembers back in the late 90s, it was those teams played faster without Patrick on the floor. Yep. He hated hearing that.
Yeah.
He hated hearing that. And when he came back that year after the Achilles in 99-2000, they get to the conference finals, but they just felt like he was slowing them down and he had finally had it. He didn't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah.
But, how's the franchise been since?
And
so with the Giants, you might, if you're a Giants fan, you might be excited about a new era and a new quarterback. But just remember, for 15 years, you had a constant, and now there's a variable. Man. There's a variable now, so you better hope that you got the right guy.
That's all facts, man. All facts. So kicking it over to basketball, as you said, it's been 20 years of straight misery since we traded the captain. And we're finally trying to get to a proper rebuild. The offseason hype and all the hoopla obviously didn't live up to it from a Plan A standpoint. But I still think, we moved the needle a bit in terms of trying to move this franchise forward. So before we get into kind of the storylines of this season, now that all the ink is dry and all the contracts, most of the roster is set, how do you feel about how we came out of the offseason?
Well, I think that it's fair to say it was a disappointment. On many levels. Didn't win the lottery.
Right.
At least got third, but didn't win it. Okay, you had the worst record in the league and you didn't win the lottery. So that, again, that's a disappointment. Still came away with a player, though, that I think a lot of people are excited about. Mm-hmm. But you have to be real about what you felt going into the offseason versus how you are right now. And that is, didn't win the lottery, so didn't get the best player, or at least the player everybody thought was the best player in the draft right now. Mm-hmm. And again, hype, right? The excitement of doing that. Then you followed up with a free agency that not only didn't lead to it didn't get Kevin Durant, it didn't get any star players that you thought might help you take that step and get back into contention. Because if you look at the East is a pillow fight. There's are there, 3 teams?
it's empty.
There might be 3 good teams, maybe. And you could argue that they're only good because it's like, again, it's like having an 8 because there's a whole bunch of 6s around.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Now the 8 all of a sudden looks like a 10. So, to be totally honest, now you go into free agency and you realize what else can you do to make sure you don't make the mistakes of the past. So now what you're trying to do instead of hit a home run is don't ground into a double play. All right. So, because we've seen that in the past,
absolutely
the fact that you give contracts, maybe too long of a contract, too big a contract to people who don't really deserve it, because you're trying to save face. Mm-hmm. There's where, to me, the high marks come in for what the Knicks did, is they did not do that. Right. They didn't try to just have a press conference for press conference's sake. I was there when Amari said, the Knicks are back. I was there the day of his press conference as well. And at the time, it was still important for what Amari stood for, especially the first half of that season.
Yeah.
But that moment still felt like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
This was supposed to be LeBron. Like, what are we doing here? Oof. So that, at least this time around, I like the fact that they did not go that route. Instead, you went out and found hungry players who still have something to prove, chip on their shoulder, short-term deals so you're not locked in for a long time.
Right.
You still got flexibility, but there's still a ton of questions, and you really don't know what this team's going to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the fair thing to say, in a lot of words, is that the offseason was a disappointment, but it wasn't a failure.
Right.
We'll see this season what this offseason really meant to the franchise's future. But you have to say it was disappointing considering what you were hoping for.
Absolutely. Certainly disappointing. I mean, we covered it night in, night out, all the rumors, all the news from the lottery on down. And yes, plan A didn't go as planned. But as you said, I think they executed plan B fairly well. I thought, as you said, the contracts are flexible. You brought in some high IQ veteran players in Taj and Morris. You brought in a guy that still has some upside in him in Julius Randle, still 24 years old, improving year after year. So I think, as you had said, I think plan B was okay, despite failing in plan A.
And the most important part of plan B is that plan B wasn't a scramble.
Right.
Plan B was in place. So, here's the other thing you don't want to, we'll go back to the Giants. Mm-hmm. Remember the draft the Giants had when they took Eli Apple?
Yeah.
They had two players that they really wanted, and teams jumped them to get those two players.
Right.
Okay, one was Leonard Floyd, the other one was Conklin, the tackle.
Mm-hmm. Jack Conklin, yep.
They were not ready, right? They were not prepared for teams to jump over them. They didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So then they take Eli Apple and go, oh, yeah, we wanted him all along. No,
right.
You didn't. You just didn't have a plan B and you weren't ready to execute it.
Yeah.
So again, you want to give credit where credit's due. That's where, to me, Mills and Perry had plan B, and at 6 o'clock on Sunday, and when free agency opened, when they knew we weren't in on Kevin Durant, they already had their plan, and they were nailing their guys one after the other, and took care of business before it turned into a bidding war with other teams. Nope, we want you, we got you. And so they at least were able to execute a plan B without being caught up now in the battles with some other teams that were getting desperate. So again, you want to find the positives. Those are the positives, that they were able to execute a plan that wasn't their main plan.
Now, what do you say to the fan that says, and I talked to you about it while this was going on, what do you say to the fan that says, well, instead of adding, maybe a Portis and a Peyton was maybe a bit overkill, instead of doing that, why not go after the assets and the salary dump? Well, what do you say to that fan?
What are we going to do? We're just going to keep collecting. How are the Celtics doing with all the draft picks, by the way? How many great players have the Celtics got with all those draft picks? Danny Ainge is a genius, but all he did was trade for air. Draft picks are draft picks. Like, what do they become? You don't know.
Right.
And all it does to me is just push time forward. Now, I'm not saying you don't trade for draft picks. What I'm saying is I'm not taking on a big salary player who won't want to be here, knows he's not part of the plan. Right? Like I want people that are engaged, because I don't know about you guys. I'm kind of tired of each year it's new faces and I'm hearing the same rhetoric. Last year we heard the same rhetoric too. I love being in New York. Always want to play on this stage. All about New York. And then you're 20 games in, and what happens? That guy's all of a sudden, he's enjoying New York the wrong way, and he's not about winning. And now it's like Derrick Rose wanted a contract extension, and his Cantor wanted a contract extension. Yeah. They want to come here because they want to get paid. No. I want guys who are coming here because they've got something to prove. They're hungry, and I'm going to get something out of them. And eventually, I've got guys that can put some roots down. Right. Like, this can't be a halfway house with bad contracts for the next 10 years. You can't keep doing that. So, in my opinion, that's not the way I'd want to go this time around. Let me get a culture here of young players who are hungry. And, oh, by the way, everybody's praising the Nets right now. That's what they did. Now, you want to say they did take a 1 or 2 contracts. That's fine. But the Knicks are already by the way, still paying Joakim Noah. Okay? So, I mean, you know what? Like, you've already got one. Do we need more on the payroll? We do not. So that's why I feel like that wasn't really the plan. That wasn't the way to go. And if you keep stockpiling these draft picks, A, you got to pay the draft pick. B, you got to make the draft picks. And C, what does it become in time? Right. Get me a culture here. Get me an identity. Let's start from there.
You know what, too, Alan? Like, I agree with you. I love
what Scott Perry and Mills did. They stockpiled the Knicks with a bunch of guys who want to play. They really focused on the deficit. We were bad at three-point shooting. We got a bunch of three-point shooters. But on the flip side, though, I feel like there's a little bit of a backfire to the plan that could happen, considering that we have a bunch of players here who really deserve minutes, especially, from the two guard perspective, where we have
two guard. There's nobody at the two. The two guard's the worst position on the team. Two guard's like cornerback for the Jets.
Yeah, but at the same time, we have like five two guard. We have Alonzo Trier. We have Damian Dotson.
Trier's already in the place he belongs. Trier, to me, is where he belongs. He's going to be a great six-man for the rest of his career. He's going to be Jamal Crawford. He is exactly where he belongs. The two-guard position, to me, is still up for grabs. And this is not to disparage Damian Dotson. He's worked his butt off. But I mean, a starting quality two in this league has to take on players like, Bradley Beal, James Harden. All right, come on. You got to have somebody that's got some stuff about him. And they don't have a guy like that. So I'm going to need a 3-and-D guy at that two spot. So to me, two's up for grabs. You're not wrong, though, about the fact that the debate is going to be about who do you play at the 3 and the 4? Do you play a veteran who's playing for a contract or a young player that I'm trying to develop for my future? And from what I'm hearing from the players, it's really going to be a meritocracy. You have to earn your burn. And I know that's been said for years around here.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's Fizdale always says that. Keep what you kill. Mm-hmm. But that's been every coach that has come through here in the last X amount of years has said, but never stuck to. But I kind of believe this year you have to stick to it. Because if you just keep giving minutes to young players who aren't ready for them, it's counterproductive to develop it, in my opinion.
I hear you. You know what, too? I'm gonna skip around to CP real quick.
Yeah, good.
So RJ Barrett, right? He's the third pick of the draft for us. RJ Barrett, Kevin Durant, Michael Beasley, Trey. Those are the only guys who was able to score 160 points or more last year in their collegiate games. So my question to you is, I know you said you would not start RJ Barrett off the jump. Now, can you expand on that? Like, why wouldn't you start RJ Barrett knowing that he's our top pick and, we need to develop this guy?
Because of what you just said. You need to develop him. And I feel like starting him now, let me also add the caveat. I have not watched a single workout yet. I only saw Summer League.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I saw him as the Summer League went deeper. He got better. He got more comfortable, more confident. But I feel like too much too soon. If you start him, I'd like to protect him. And he and Kevin Knox, to me, are still teenagers. They need to play. Although Knox, did he finally turn 20? I can't keep up.
Yeah, I think he's 20.
He's 20. I'm joking. But it feels like the whole damn team is still teenagers. Can anybody drink on this team? So to me, you have a situation with players who are young, who can come off the bench and play against twos, and they can eat there.
Yeah.
Because you go up against backups and you could start to physical confidence is everything. And if you start feeling good about yourself against teams' backups, and you can still get 20 minutes a game off the bench. And if you're playing well, and you can also finish, by the way. But starting to me comes with a little bit of a burden that I've always said that the Knicks jersey already is the heaviest jersey in the league.
Oh yeah.
Why put any more weight on top of this kid? I don't think it's necessary. Now, once again, if he goes into training camp, plays some preseason games, and he's by far better than anything else the Knicks could put at the 2, then of course he should be the starter.
Yeah.
But I think he's got to earn that, and we've got to see it. But I wouldn't force it. I don't think it should be something that I'm saying is going to happen. I'd like to see him earn it, see him prove it to me that he's a great fit next to Dennis Smith Jr., that he can defend, that he can knock down the open 3. Because with Dennis Smith and Julius Randle, he's not going to need to be an ISO, break you down, drive to the basket kind of player.
Right.
He's going to need to be a role player.
Yeah.
And I don't know, can he do that, or is he going to have to learn that? Or is he better off the bench instead of coming in as a role player, being a guy that can score? And I'd rather put him maybe at the 2 or at the 3 with Alonzo Trier, remember. That's where it gets dicey is the minutes off the bench.
Right.
That's where it gets dicey.
Yeah, I mean, my take on the RJ thing, and it kind of fits into your narrative in terms of forcing the fandom, forcing the stardom. My take is that, listen, this is the number 3 pick. We didn't execute on plan A of the all season. I would put him out there to kind of get things going, a feel good story, and just see how he does. You know, trial by fire, to sort of
Feel good story is if he plays well wherever he is.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
You know what I mean? Like I just can't. You know what it is? I think this franchise and a lot of teams in New York get too caught up in what you just said, the story, the narrative, proving he was the right pick. Yeah. That'll all take care of itself, man. Like, that'll take care of itself. Just, to me, it's whatever he is right now, just let him be that. You know, in time he'll become whatever he's supposed to become while he's working on his game. But it can't just happen right away. It might take some time. Look around the league. There's a lot of guys like that in some of these other places that weren't necessarily out of the gate. They were awesome, but they put in, Jamal Murray, I think, is a great example. Yeah. Guys who put in work and then all of a sudden just like it was just, you know, you're in January and somebody goes, hey, RJ Barrett's balling right now for the Knicks. Like, you know, he had like, that's what you'd rather have than he starts, but he struggles, and now I got to take him out of the starting lineup. So now Mark Berman has a field day with that. You don't want to give him like, trust me, I was in those circles. You get to a point where you're like, I need a story today.
The cesspool starts churning, man.
Oh, man. I mean, I was there. That's what we would do. You need a story. I need something to write about, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, RJ Barrett's struggling. Okay, let's start writing that. You don't want to have that. So you don't need to force it. Let him earn it. I think he comes from good stock. He's going to get there eventually. I'm pretty confident in this kid. Yeah. You know, that he'll get there. I just don't want to force the issue with him. I want him to grow into this role because this kid is extremely important to the future of this franchise.
Yeah. And I agree with you, man. Him and Kevin Knox, I agree with you. Let them earn it, man. And I was encouraged by what I saw in the summer league because I have the same concerns as you have, where he's not a good three-point shooter, so you're not sure how he's going to fit next to guys who can't shoot. But I felt like he found his way, even with the bad shooting, to kind of contribute.
Agree. I agree, but I'm going to throw this at you. Now, here we go. Now, here comes this one. Now we'll get hot. You guys want to start a fight. We're going to start the fight right now because you're going to see the mentions and everything's going to blow up right now. Get this one. Ready?
Let's go.
And now I can't wait, too, because I'll be accused of one thing and another thing, and it's hysterical. So here we go. Ready?
All right.
What about Neil Aquina at the 2 next to Dennis Smith?
Well, look. Listen.
Here's why.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll let you follow up. But let me explain why. And now the Neil Aquina haters are going to tell me that I'm a homer.
Yes.
When everybody that knows me for the last 2 years, all I've done is talk about how this guy can't shoot. All he does, you know, like he's not consistent. So I've been critical of him, but I actually think what I saw overseas, you know, FIBA Frank.
FIBA Frank is a thing.
If he could, first of all, if he can play like 6'6", wingspan, can defend, doesn't need the ball in his hands, and actually showed us a little bit that he can catch and shoot threes when he played over with France. With Dennis Smith, I mean, to me, he's dominating the basketball. He's my scorer. I need somebody that's going to be on the perimeter, catch and shoot, make a three, and play some defense. The key there is that Frank doesn't have to play 40 minutes a night. But next to Dennis Smith, now that's how you have to think about lineups. Who fits best next to a guy that I know? I remember who I traded Dennis Smith for.
Right.
Like who I traded for to get Dennis Smith. I need him to be an all-star.
He needs to work, absolutely.
Yes. And he's had a hell of a summer, and I can't wait to see if all that I saw in the summer comes together for him on the court, because it's not just physically, not with his game, but mentally. He's matured a ton, and I'm excited about Dennis Smith. So, but next to Dennis Smith, I don't need another guy that needs the basketball, that has to dominate the basketball. I need a guy that can protect him defensively and knock down a kick-out three. Frank right now could be that guy.
You don't think
he might not, and if he's not, hey, but if he's not, then at least I know I don't have to pick up his option now. I don't have to. I need to see it so I know whether or not I'm keeping Frank or I'm moving on from Frank. That's the best way to find out.
Here's my thing with Frank, and I agree with you 100%. We have to start with defense, especially on the perimeter. We've been getting killed for the last 2 decades. God knows how long. We haven't had a solid perimeter defense. We've been in the bottom third of the league in all defensive statistics, and that's supposed to be Fizdale's calling card. So
Derek Harper is rolling over in his grave.
Absolutely, man. So listen, Frank definitely showed some encouraging things in the World Cup. You actually saw some confidence in him. You saw that dog in him, especially in the fourth quarter against the USA.
That's right,
Even
that's
against
right.
Argentina in the blowout, you kind of saw that sense of urgency from Frank and trying to get his team back into things, and that I was really encouraged by it. To me, listen, it's all on the offensive end. He has to prove that it's not 5-on-4 going the other way. You know what I mean? His shooting statistics were atrocious last year. I mean, that's just being honest. And I think that's why. It's
the biggest issue.
I think that's been the biggest issue. And Fizdale, through lesser words, has said he's not sure how to really utilize this kid just yet.
And to me, that's what I want to see in the preseason.
Yeah.
They have a decision to make. They've got to figure out if they want to extend him, if they want to keep him on the team, if they want to keep him around as part of the future, or is it time to move on and just understand that, hey, that was a previous regime's draft pick and that's not our guy. And, it's time to move on. That's something that they're going to have to figure out. And I don't think you figure it out by bringing him off the bench and letting him figure out where he fits. This is a role that I've always said will probably be his role in the NBA. He's not a lead guard. Yeah. He's not a break-you-down scorer, but he can become a 3-and-D kind of player that occasionally can handle the basketball, occasionally operate your offense. But because his motor is so inconsistent, I can't rely on him. But it doesn't mean he can't be useful. Here's my way to find out if he fits what I want to do. I'm not about giving up on draft picks. I've never been. Mm-hmm. I just need to know, does he fit what I'm trying to do or not before I have to make a financial decision? This is the only way why. So, again, am I a hater or am I, one of these Frank sycophants? That's for everybody out there to judge. All I'm saying is I'm looking at it from a Knicks perspective.
Right.
And that's the thought process I'd be bringing into the preseason if I was running this team.
But 1 second, Jay. But here's my thing with the Frank thing, right? And you're saying they have a critical decision to make by October 31st. Why continue to bring in point guard after point guard? The Moutier thing was a complete waste of time, in my opinion, right?
Or even shooting guards.
And then look at Peyton, right? Okay, Peyton, they claim that Perry was after Peyton even before they got Moutier last year.
Peyton's going to be an interesting player off the bench, I think.
Right.
I think he's interesting off the bench because he can push. He plays up tempo and he's got a toughness about him and he can organize an offense. Yeah. So another guy can't shoot though.
Another guy that can't shoot.
But I like the other things that he can bring could be helpful. I need to see it though, of course.
No doubt about it. And I totally I'm on board with his prowess as a floor general. Totally. Especially last year. He finished with I believe he's averaging around 9 dimes a game last year. Only 4 in the second half. Only 4 plays to do that.
Then he had 3 straight triple doubles at 1 point.
3 straight triple doubles as well. 5.
He gets hurt a lot. Was it 5? Yeah. He gets hurt a lot. Like that's the other thing with him. He's got to stay healthy. The good news is he cut the hair. In New York, that ain't going
now he can see. He can see a little bit. He can see a little bit. But my thing with Peyton, it's just the same thing with Moutier. It further clutters the point guard carousel. To me, from the point guard perspective in free agency, it should have either been a cut above, whether it's Kyrie or you want to say Kemba, or even a cut below. Someone who's going to be a caretaker that would know their role as a veteran backup that could help DSJ be a leader, help Frank be a leader, but not have to compete for minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Kyrie wasn't going to happen, and I'm not giving. God bless Kemba. He's a New Yorker, and I love what he's done. I'm not giving him a max at this point in his career. I'm not. I wasn't going to do it. Mm-hmm. It didn't make sense, and I know the story is he didn't want to play in New York, and the reason why was what Clyde Frazier has been trying to tell people for a long time. It's too hard to play here. And a lot of guys who know that they're not the man, capital T, capital M, they don't want it because they know look what happened to Melo. You could argue Melo, brought a lot of stuff upon himself, and I'll let you make that argument, but it doesn't mean that, as you just said earlier, 20 years, right?
Yeah.
But Melo gave you the best 3 years out of the last 20, and you can't overlook that. And yet people are already ready, just couldn't wait to get rid of him. And all that stuff. And the criticism he took, even in the years where he was a terrific player, he still got, criticism. Still not good enough. You're still not good enough. Players see that. And that's why it's, you can bring up anything you want about all the reasons why players don't come to the Knicks. But I'm telling you, when you ask a player, they don't want that. It's different pressure.
Yeah.
It's different pressure. It's look how they treated Melo. Look how they treated Patrick Ewing.
True.
That kind of stuff that I think players would rather avoid if they could, which is why I think as the Knicks have to do it, they have to grow their own.
Yep.
They have to. It's the only way to do it. Can't chase stars anymore. You got to grow your own. So anybody that wants to ask about Giannis in 2020, I'm hanging up on you.
All right, scratch that question off.
All right, let's go to Fizz. You know, to me, Fizz has the toughest job in the NBA, trying to manage all of the depth. We won 17 games last year. It was tough to take. You know, J. Ellis and I, you covered every game. J. Ellis and I, we covered every game from a post-game perspective. It was tough getting through those dog days of the 82 without too much good news. How do you think Fizz kind of balances the conflict in terms of trying to improve on last year's total and also focusing on developing the young core that we have here?
Well, I mean, with 17 wins, it's not
Not
that hard.
better. Not that hard, man.
I mean, if you win 27, you're like, hey, we improved by 10.
That's it. That's it, man.
All kidding aside, I know that it personally for him was difficult. Like this was not easy for him. I mean, he's a proud guy. This is a guy that was used to going to finals as an assistant coach, you know, that had success his first year as a head coach. And then look at Memphis since they fired him. Yep. Everybody that wants to talk about how Fizdale was a failure in his first time as a head coach, look at Memphis since when he was telling them it's time to change, that you can't play this way anymore and we've got to change. And Marc Gasol pulled the power play and basically got him fired. I mean, you can sugarcoat it all you want. Marc Gasol, everybody loves him. What a nice guy. He got him fired because he didn't like the fact that Fizz told him, you're a dinosaur. We got to change the way we play.
Right.
And he got upset, went to the owner and got him fired. Well, where's Memphis since then? Everybody's got fired now, and all their players are gone.
True.
Right? Like, think about that. So, and obviously Gasol's gone too. So you can't look at Memphis as that experience where he failed. You look at it as Fizdale saw it coming, tried to warn them, and they told him that he was crazy.
Quickly.
And they got rid of him.
Quickly.
I know. It was insane. So, you know, that happened to him. And then he comes here, and, you know, he's a prideful guy. I want to prove that what happened in Memphis, right? And, you know, what happens this past season happened, and he spent a lot of time focusing on trying to, put a growth mindset into young players rather than the old school way of coaching, which is, you know, you got to, you know, ride them and you got to be tough on them and you got to force them and push them, because he knew this was a loft issue, lack of freaking talent. There's just not enough here. So most nights you're going to struggle. And how many games were they close towards the end and then just didn't have enough and finished the battle back a lot of times? You know, that's a typical young team. So I know going into this year that I can only imagine how fired up he is to get out of the gate quickly. And the schedule is going to make it tough. But they've got some tough players. And I wonder I want to know what the identity is going to be. And I wonder what kind of identity Fizdale is going to instill. Because this is no longer now, hey, we're young and we're just going to try to develop. We need to lay down the foundation of an identity of who the Knicks are. And I think that's what his focus is going to be this year. And I'm curious what that identity is going to be. I know what I would make it. I want to see what he would make it.
JL, so where are you at on Fizz?
Man, I want to echo what Alan said, because I've been doing a lot of Fizz defending over the last year or so. Like, Fizz has done well for Memphis. He put down a defensive identity for Memphis, and I feel like the same thing will happen with the Knicks once we get all the right pieces around the Knicks to actually play defense. Last year we had Cantor, who was a turnstile on defense. And we also had Moody, which, I mean, I don't agree with Fizz playing all those minutes considering he was gone. But I just feel like with the pieces we had this year, we got some three-point shooting that we desperately needed. We got a couple of defensive pieces. I feel like with the new pieces we had this year, Fizz is going to be able to at least get to 30 wins, get to a respectable winning percentage for the Knicks. And you know what? Start to build a culture, like Alan said, man. I'm happy. I'm curious to see what Fizz is going to do this season, man.
Yeah, and it's a matter of getting a guy like Dennis Smith, who I know he was in his ear after they traded for him, after they got him, he was in his ear.
Yeah.
DS was not in great shape. He was not.
Right.
He had kind of let it go once he realized Rick Carlisle had given up on him, and he had let it go, and so his body wasn't really ready. You remember the game he played in Detroit? He had the 360 dunk.
Oh yeah.
Like he went for 30. He was just insane, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next day he was shot.
Nothing.
Like nothing left in the tank.
Left.
And the rest of the season, you saw him he could not get that energy back.
Yeah.
He did the dunk contest, you remember as well. Like, so I think he realized this off season that if I want to be an elite player, I got to be in elite shape. And so I do think that he spent, and from everything we've seen, as far as, everybody has videos out.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we've seen shows us that he's got himself into elite conditioning. Now, can he maintain it during a season? And if that battery is at 100%, what kind of player are you getting night in and night out, especially down the stretch? Because he does have it in him to be that kind of player. And then, of course, there's Julius Randle.
Right.
With those two guys, I think Fizdale believes if I can get these two to play at an all-star caliber level where they can both average in the high teens, and get a lot of offense out of these two guys, put some guys who can defend. Obviously, Mitch is a big part of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think Fizz feels like I can coach these guys up. I just need at least two ballers that can get me buckets when I need a bucket. Mm-hmm. And those two guys are going to be key. That's his pillars right there. Those two guys. My opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I've been saying that the key to the Knicks having somewhat of a respectable season, playoffs or not, has to be on the back of Dennis Smith Jr. I think Randall's definitely going to put up his points. You know he's gonna put up his points, straight up bully ball. I like the fact that he's working on his mid range and beyond. He's trying to step out a little bit.
Well, he could hit the three. Yeah, he was showing off the three this summer.
Exactly. So that was certainly encouraging. You saw the footage he was working out with Melo, working on his footwork as well. So I like that, but I think DSJ is going to be the key. As you said, can he put it in, night out? Can he prove to stay durable? And defensively, can he keep it together just admirably on the defensive end? And I think we'll be all right. But from Fizz, I think, it's going to be on him to really get the most out of this young core. Whether it's Frank, whether it's DSJ, RJ, Barrett, ISO, Mitch, how he kind of gets these guys together. On the flip side, you have guys like Ellington. Ellington is probably the best shooter on the team. Where do those minutes come from when we need to stretch the floor? We need to knock down some threes.
ISO shot 39%. I'm just saying.
He did.
Ellington to me is just another. And this is not to sound disparaging. He's a pro. He's another pro on the team. I don't know if he's I don't know if he's a rotation guy. I don't. But I know that he's somebody like what you brought up. When I need some shooting, I know I can get it. I know he'll be ready to play. He's one of those guys that's like a pro. Like Taj Gibson is a guy too that I feel like when I need that kind of element in the game, I know he'll be ready. You know what Taj Gibson reminds me of at this point? That he could be a little bit of Kurt Thomas.
I said the same thing.
I love it.
A little bit of Kurt Thomas, like a little bit of that where I'm a pro. I'm always ready to play. I don't have to play a ton, but when you need me, I'm coming in and I will make a difference. A little old man game, and just sort of set a tone when I need to set a tone. Like so people are wondering, well, how many minutes Taj Gibson going to play? And all due respect to Taj Gibson, but I don't think he plays a ton of minutes. Yeah. But I do think he plays a critical role in the locker room. Yeah. And then when I'm looking down the bench and I need some heart. Because I'm in a back-to-back, and I got some guys who are young guys, and they're a little soft tonight because it's a tough game. Maybe it's the third and four nights. I need some heart, Taj. Give me some heart, and he will. That's what he's about. So it's a good tone setter. So those are the kind of guys I think. Wayne Ellington can shoot a three when I need. Maybe I need to space the floor, so maybe I bring him in the game.
Right.
But I'm they've got shooting. It's still not enough.
Yeah.
I can't, I'm not going to start sugarcoating stuff. They don't have nearly enough 3-point shooting.
Right.
And that's going to be a factor in this as well, I think, in this season. That's why this defense, you've mentioned it, and you're right. I said what identity they're going to have. They don't need to be a team that can play defense. They need to be a team that does play defense. And they need to be a team where their reputation is they are tough to play against defensively. The offense will come. And I hate making these references, but it's because Knicks fans can relate. This will be, to me, like Starks Ewing, where you just have two guys that can take care of outside, inside, and everybody else is just a bunch of dudes that are just going to play hard. You know, they're just gonna play hard and get after it. Bobby Portis is the guy nobody's talking about, but everybody in Chicago, they loved him. Hard worker, tough guy, can make a shot. He's a guy that can shoot. When he gets hot, he gets it rolling. A bit inconsistent, but still, that's the mentality I need. This team has to be a tough, physical team that is opportunistic offensively, but they're more known for how stingy they are defensively. The question is about David Fizdale is, where's that background? Who is your defensive guru on the bench? Who's the one that's running the defense? What kind of, that's what I need to see. Because usually it takes, I have a defensive guru. He's going to run my defense, and these guys are going to be all about that. I need to see that develop as well.
Who would you say that guy would be on his staff? I mean, is Keith Smart more of a offensive focus?
Yeah, Smart is an offensive guy.
Bushler is more he's working with the guards, I would assume. Development.
Judd Bushler is a development coach. He's terrific with development. Yeah, very good. A lot of these guys are development coaches. Mike Miller, by the way.
Miller.
He was actually very good in Westchester. Now everybody wants to say it's a G League, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Oh no, it does matter. It actually you can be really bad in the G League if you're not a good coach. Because some guys don't really want to listen. Some guys are going their own way. He had that team playing hard, and there was a lot of in and out going on that team because they would send a player down, they'd take him out. All of a sudden, the guy was starting. Now wait, Damian Dotson's here to play again. Now I'm not starting. And Mike Miller did a great job managing that. So I'm curious to see what Mike Miller's role is going to be on this staff. But it is a staff that's mainly built of development type coaches, not necessarily X's and O's tacticians. And that's why I brought up the defense. I'm just curious to see who's going to emerge as Dick Harder, Tom Thibodeau. Who's going to emerge as that kind of a guy?
The secret sauce is on the staff. That's what Craig Robinson said, man. So hopefully it.
Great point.
It reveals itself.
I have a question too. I have a question real quick. Who's your ideal starting five?
Oof,
well,
pressure.
You already heard my backcourt, right?
Yeah,
I know nobody. And I know it's going to drive.
I'm trying to set everything on fire, Alan. I'm trying.
No. Nick's Twitter's already probably. I haven't looked yet. I'm waiting to see because I know I'm already being called a homer or something. But and then the Frank, those people that are the Francophiles, like they'll be telling me how I'm a hater for some reason.
You can't win, man.
What a civil war, man!
It's the Hatfields, McCoys, the Democrats versus Republicans. There's no middle ground. There's no middle ground.
Zone.
No neutral zone. No.
But all right, so that to me, I'd start the preseason that way. My backcourt. Now, and I need to see how it looks. I'm not putting that in ink. Okay. I'll put Dennis. He's in ink. Frank, I want to see. Okay. It could be a good complementary piece. It could be, but I need to see it. 3, 4, 5 is interesting. 3, I feel like Randall and Marcus Morris have to start.
I think so.
I need physicality. So. Now, the question, of course, is: do you have Mitch at the 5? Or do you just stay young off the bench and maybe move Randall to the 5? But I think Mitch, because Mitch and Dennis Smith in an alley-oop, pick and roll,
Gotham lob all day, man.
Oh, that could just be special. So that's my 5. Now you could say, well, Marcus Morris is a 4; he's not a 3. If I'm playing the way I want to play, which is thug mentality, I want Marcus at the 3.
I like that.
Look, I always have this saying that from an old school kind of thing. It's basically that, you can use 5 fouls because they don't kick you out until you make 6. And even Pat Riley used to say, they can't call everything.
That's it. That's true, man. That's true, man.
So, I know there's flagrant fouls today, and I know the league reviews stuff on video and fines players. If I'm a head coach or if I'm I get paid a handsome amount of money. I pretty much tell my players, like, look, you take one for the team. I got you. This is not a bounty gate thing. I'm just saying that we need a mentality.
No, we need to play tough, man. We need to bring that back. Everybody comes in here when they get signed. They say the same thing. We want to be the 90s Knicks. And then it's Matador D left and right. The lane is wide open.
Up to it. Well, we're all best friends now. That's the other
thing.
We're all best friends.
Yeah, always. Summertime.
Everybody's buddies. And what there's this saying, by the way. Let me get it up for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to find this saying. Here it is right here. I found this. Newt Rockne said this. He said, at home we're the host, and I never liked the idea of being embarrassed in front of our friends. And I would put that Newt Rockne statement, I would put that right in the door as you leave out the tunnel for the guard.
I like that.
Like that's what
Absolutely.
it is. Like, think about this. I'm not being a gracious host here.
Nope.
Like, I'm tired of hearing about
man.
players saying how much they love playing at the Garden. I want players to say how much they hate playing
Yep.
here.
Tough place to play.
That's
It's
what
got
I
to
want.
become
I
a tough
hate
place to play once
hate
again.
going
man.
there. I hate going there. Like, I'd rather hear that more than anything, because then I'd rather the players who play for the Knicks say I love playing there.
Absolutely.
That mentality's got to flip. We lost that somewhere. I don't know where, but that mentality changed where it's now the opponents used to go, oh man, I love playing here. Like, what do you mean you love playing? I don't want you to love playing here. I want you hating it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking, and I'm hoping. So that's my 5. That's what I would do.
Okay.
And again, if you say, "Oh, Mitchell Robinson gets the foul trouble," I don't care. I don't let him. I mean, you tell me if he averages 4 fouls a game that's a bad thing.
Nope.
Well, you got Taj, right?
Yeah, be good.
That's my point. That's why you have depth, because you're allowed to now play as hard as you want. Because if I get tired of foul trouble, I got somebody else that's got my back, and it's okay.
True indeed.
That's it.
True indeed, man. JLs, we're going to go to the phones with a quick reset. Salute to everybody watching. Hit that thumbs up for Alan Hahn, special guest in the building. If you're a diehard Knicks fan, make sure you subscribe to the channel. This is our season preview discussion with Alan Hahn once again. Were you guys in the chat? Where are you guys watching from? Put your city in the chat. Let us know where you guys are tuning in from. If you guys are new to the chat, also hit a hashtag new so we could shout you guys out. And what do you guys think about Alan Hahn starting 5 from the preseason? He said from the preseason. DSJ at the 1, Frank at the 2, Marcus Morris at the 3, Randall at the 4, and Mitch at the 5. Leave a comment in the chat. Let us know what you think about Alan's potential 5 here. All right, let's go to the phones. First guy up is Guillermo from Brooklyn. He wants to talk about the style of play that Fizz should implement on offense. Guillermo, how you doing, bro?
Yo, it was good. How you guys doing? How you doing, Alan?
Good, man. Yo, Guillermo, you gotta take it off speakerphone and just talk a little bit louder.
All right, you can hear me better?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I was just curious. Given Fizdale's experience in Miami, his experience with the Grizzlies, how do you see his offensive system playing out with the Knicks? I know we got a lot of guys coming in, but we do have athletic forwards. We have, the on-ball point guard that he likes. And we do have big men who can shoot. So I was just wondering, how do you see this offense playing out for the season in terms of just the style of play?
Yeah, and I mean, last year, you can't really base a lot on what they did last year because, they didn't really have anybody that could carry an offense. They tried some stuff with Dennis last year when they got him. So you saw a little bit of a hint of high screen roll. They don't have the shooting to spread the floor that can allow teams to just crash down on him. But I do think you're going to see a lot of similarities to where they played in Miami. I just think they're good. It's the way the game is going now. He wants to play fast, wants to get up and down the floor, but it has to be controlled. I think at times last year when he tried to play fast, it was too fast. It was out of control, and he had to dial it back. So they want Dennis to go. Like, he's that good, that athletic, that when you get the ball and you see a lane and somebody pick you up 3/4, go. And then, of course, you tell the other guys, run with him. Don't be lazy. And that's where Kevin Knox comes in. Kevin Knox, at times, if he runs the floor, he can run the floor really well, and it's impressive, and he can finish. But there are also times he becomes a ball watcher. Frank does the same thing. They do too much ball staring, like stare at it. Oh, there he goes. You got to go with him. So, it's all going to depend on whether or not there's enough guys that want to run. So, but I do think he's looking to play the way you're seeing the rest of the league play. It's going to be a lot of two-man, he and Julius. They'll give Julius some mid-post looks and a lot of stuff on the side. But I think you'll see high screen roll. I think Mitch will be involved a lot too, and you can lob to him, which pulls some defense, away from Dennis. Dennis got to be able to knock down that pull-up jumper.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, that's a big part of this too.
I agree. And just real quick before I leave, you guys kept talking about DSJ, right? I do have another idea. So obviously RJ Barrett, he can pass really well out the double teams. As you saw in the last 2 summer league games, when he gets to pick and roll and he's allowed to operate in space, he's a lot more dangerous. And I think that when you allow him to be kind of like a jack of all trades, like how the early Dwayne Wade was, he can play. He feels a little bit more comfortable. So how do you feel about him playing at the 1?
I don't love him at the 1.
As like a point forward.
Yeah, like maybe on a wing where he's doing a lot of work, like you said, a little Swiss Army knife kind of stuff. Maybe some of that early flash stuff that you saw in Miami with Wade. Can he? I don't think he's got the athleticism that Dwayne Wade had. Obviously,
right.
Dwayne Wade could explode to the basket and finish strong. But I do think that RJ's shown he can absorb contact. And if you're throwing bodies at him, if he's got big passes, and that's, I think that's a possible role for him. We'll see. He's got to develop into it.
Yeah, I'm intrigued because we saw at the Summer League that he started playing a lot better when they gave him the rock and he had the ball in his hands. So where they play RJ is certainly going to be interesting out the gate.
But also, he was kind of playing a lot of point forward, too. It wasn't like exclusively point guard. It was just like, all right, if you get the rebound, push the ball.
Go.
And I'll set up the
green light. That's right. Green light if you have it. If not, give it to the guard. Yeah, 100%. That's exactly right. Yeah, that's what they were doing.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate the call, Guillermo. And salute to everybody in the chat. Let's see where some guys are headed in from. We got EJ from New Haven, Jarrell Williams checking in from D.C., Jaime Hernandez, Tucson, Arizona. He says #new. So welcome to the show, Jaime. Make sure you subscribe. We have Strong Island in the building, Alan. We got a couple Long Islanders in here with us. Harlem World, Sid Leonard, what's going on? Syracuse, Rel, stay flexing. He says #new. So welcome, Rel.
All right.
Okay, let's go back to the phones. Jamal from Jersey. He's a regular caller. He wants to ask Alan, what do you think went wrong in free agency? Jamal, what's going on, man?
What's up? How you doing today, fellas and Alan?
Good, man.
What's up?
Actually, you kind of answered that a little bit earlier, so I want to go to another point. I'm wondering what you think about the same old Knicks narrative that is Dolan and this, that, and above. My opinion is when you're a perennial loser year in and year out, media and everybody else that, has to do their job, just focus on the negative, and it's easy to say Dolan this and Dolan that. And we had so much internal conflict in the building, like with Phil having his own journalists he wanted to get stuff out to, and people just leaking things for specific and personal reasons. And with this regime, I feel like it's different. It's more cohesion. And I think the Porzingis unfortunate situation is an example of that, because there's no way he could have gotten that trouble and we not hear about it until he's out of the building as a Knick.
And that should tell you something, that part of it there is that, that incident that KP was a part of, and I know of two other things that never got out about him that'll never get out. But, they protected him. That's why when people talk about how the Knicks failed Porzingis, I feel like it was a failure, absolutely. I said it when they traded him, that it was a terrible day, that it had to come to this, that he didn't want to stay and they couldn't convince him to stay. So everybody failed. His brother failed him, as the way they were guiding him.
Maybe bad guidance.
The kid was immature about a lot of things. And he also didn't recognize that the team did do all they could to take care of him. They really did. And what he wasn't happy about, he's never talked about it yet. He will have, hopefully eventually. My question is,
do you think it was the whole Phil tenure?
Yes. I think it started there. The mistrust began there. It continued there. And I don't think they ever were able to, and I know Fizz tried it, I know Perry tried it. They were never able to just get him back in the fold. And he went from the kid who was like, oh, I have this key to the gym and I can go to the gym anytime I want. I love that. To, sliding into DMs and hanging out a little more than he should. And also, basically side-eyeing everybody that tried to talk to him about how much he meant to the franchise. So, but all that aside, what you just talked about is something that I often talk about on my radio show. And that is that when you're a fan of a team like the Knicks, like the Jets, the Mets deal with this as well, and you get that same old blank, you got to understand that that's not going to change. You can't get angry at it. You can't get frustrated by it. If you're a team, you also can't let it dictate what you do.
Yeah.
Like you can't make decisions based on, oh, the media is going to kill us.
Yep.
You make a decision that's best for your business and move forward. And that narrative goes away when you start winning. When you start producing, when you start showing that you're heading in the right direction. Let me tell you a story about the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors were a laughingstock franchise, believe it or not.
Yep.
They had Monte Ellis.
I was there.
They had Monte Ellis. They drafted Steph Curry, and no one there wanted them to draft Steph Curry.
Mm.
Then Curry got the ankle injury. Then they gave him the extension, and they traded Monte Ellis. They had a night where they were honoring Chris Mullin, and the owner came out, the same owner who's there now that everybody loves. The owner comes out, and he was booed by the crowd to a point where who was it? Rick Barry grabbed the mic and scolded the fans.
Oh,
saying,
that's
this
right.
is not about
Yeah.
that. This is about Chris Mullin, and you should honor Chris Mullin. Now, just understand that they had to prove that they knew what they were doing. They were heading in the right direction, and it took them time to get there. And obviously, once they did, it turned into something spectacular. The point I'm making is that nothing ever changes overnight when you're a franchise that has lost as long as a team like the Knicks have lost. People will expect you to fail until you prove you can consistently succeed. So with that in mind, when you're a fan and you see that no one's believing in your team, what do you want them to believe in? There's no history to believe in it. And I'll quote Steve Mills last year. You have a reason to be skeptical. He even said it himself.
Yeah.
You have a reason to be skeptical, and they know that. So this is about get your head down, and you have to, as a franchise, plow through this stuff. Take all the arrows. Go ahead. Say what you're going to say about us until you start winning, until you start proving that your plan is working. Then you'll start getting the accolades. But people aren't going to say, oh, I like what they're doing. I'm going to believe in them. No, because we've had that before. You've seen those moments before where I'm going to believe in them now. Nope, that was bad. Believe in them now. Nope, believe in them now. Nope. So after a while, right, how many times are you going to bang your head into the wall hoping that the wall falls down? You're going to stop.
Yeah.
So that's where you're at now as a franchise. That's where you're at as a fan base. You just have to understand it. Block out the noise and hope this time they get it right.
True indeed, man. Winning cures all. Alan, how you doing? You got time for one more call?
Winning is the best deodorant.
That's true. That's true, man.
Yeah, we can go one more.
Okay, all right. Real quick, we're gonna go back to the phone. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We had Troy in the chat says he's been an Alan Hahn fan since the Knicks fixed days. So shout out to Troy. We got House Flan in here from Santa Clarita, California. K Omega checking in from Colorado. Salute to everybody watching in the chat.
Yo, shout out to Enzo over here, Enzo954, Gary Singh over here. Shout out Will from LI, always supporting us.
Yep.
Always. And Old Dog, I see Old Dog.
And speaking of which, we have the man himself, Will from LI, checking in.
Yeah, I even know.
Now, Alan, when we first met Will, we met him at the lottery party in person. He comes up to us with a full notebook full of notes.
Oh, yeah.
Notes, strategies, plays, X's and O's, the whole 9 yards, man. And he's been a diehard follower of the show ever since. Will from LI, ladies and gentlemen. Will, what's going on, man?
How you guys doing, CPJS? How you doing? Alan, big fan. First off, Alan, I just want you to know that I'm a fellow Pioneer. I'm still at LIU Post. They changed it to the Sharks now, but
we're not. Yeah,
whatever
there's
the
no
case,
such thing as Pioneers anymore.
Yeah. They took that out. Yeah, that's true. It's crazy.
Jersey.
I don't know why they changed it.
They gave me my jersey, and I was like, "Well, it
No,
doesn't matter anymore."
It's still up there. Yeah, it's still up there. Yeah, it's still up there. Yeah, you go to the gymnasium. You're still there. You're still there. You know.
Yeah, it's not a gymnasium anymore, though. People are like, "Oh, what was a Pioneer? What was that?" That was back in the ball had laces and the shorts were too short.
Exactly. Everything is getting changed. The legacy is going away. But whatever the case, I just wanted to ask you a question, Alan. So first off, I think you kind of answered one of them. I was going to ask you which one should we be prioritizing towards the end of the season. Whether should we focus on wins? You know, this is after the trade deadline, and you know whatever the record is pretty much set in stone. Let's say we're underneath 30 wins after the trade deadline. You know, should we still be? You know, I would hope that Morse would be moved and we get some assets for him, but should we definitely be like focusing on the RJs, the Knoxes, above the Wayne Ellingtons and the Reggie Bullocks and such like that?
That depends. Yeah, that has to. I have to see where you are in February, and then obviously what kind of value you can get for some of these players that might be on the 1-year deals. But you know, this has to be about trying to win now. You have to be able to. Man. I mean, everything has to be about your best opportunity to win, and even if it means that you know, heaven forbid, R.J. Barrett's, you know, struggling early on, and it's better that he sits. Then it's better that he sits because you can't. This is no longer about the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. You know, this is, you know, you've got to start winning as a franchise, or at least laying a foundation of being competitive. And so, again, if Kevin Knox is not competitive, he doesn't play. In my opinion, you can always work on stuff in practice and prove to me that you're ready, because a player who is hungry will come in and battle for his minutes because he's tired of sitting, right? And that's what I want. So this has to be about trying to win at the beginning. Now, if you get to February and it didn't work out, and, you know, again, you have injuries or whatever else happened to you, trade deadline, well, that gives you the flexibility. Now you have these short-term contracts that you can, you know, maybe try to do something for your future. But I you know, to me, there is development, and that always has to take precedent, but never over winning. Not at this point. Can't.
Absolutely, I agree. And then I just had one other question about Frank.
Real quick.
Seeing how he just recently did as he did his work inside the FIBA World Cup. Do you think that this Frank's showing in the FIBA World Cup will give him some confidence going forward that will carry over to the season? And if so, do you think that he's still a player worth keeping or a player worth trading? I know, like, he's in your starting five. You know, I'm not going to give you any heat for that, but I know that Knicks Twitter probably will. But, you know, I just want to get your opinion on that.
Bring it. Honestly, I think this is the time to find out if he's going to be somebody that fits into the way you need to play, the way you need him to play. And so I have to give him every opportunity, and that's what I would do in preseason. You know, it's what he did overseas, what he did in the World Cup. Now, his last game wasn't good. He didn't shoot the ball well. I don't know. You know, did he get tired? I don't know. Their coach was funny with his minutes, too. It was a little bizarre the way he was used. But I know that, and the biggest issue I have with Frank is not necessarily, you know, his shooting can come and go. It's that his effort level comes and goes. He's engaged and he's really good. Then he's disengaged because maybe he's not happy about, you know, sitting out. Then he comes back in a game and he's not. Even against the U.S., he had a terrific start. They brought him back in the second quarter and he was non-existent. Then they brought him in the second half. He didn't start the second half. He comes in the second half and he was really good. And down the stretch, he was fantastic. So solid. That's the problem is he is, you know, Forrest Gump. He's a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get with him. But I'm hoping that what you see in preseason is somebody that will give you that consistent effort because he wants to earn the starting minutes and prove that he belongs. That's what he's got weighing on him. So I got to give him that opportunity. I can't say what I saw in China is, okay, now he's back. I believe in him. What I saw in China tells me there's something there. Right. Now I need to see if I can get it out of him, or is he just always going to be that inconsistent guy that's going to tease you? I got to find out.
That's right. Well said, man. Now's the time. So, Alan, man, we just want to say once again, we appreciate you coming on, giving us some time. We know you're a busy guy, man, so you gave us an hour. That was more than we expected. And we definitely appreciate you coming on and giving the fans some insight on the team going into the season.
My pleasure. I had a lot of fun. I love talking hoop.
One question, man. I see those Emmys shining in the background, man. How do we get one of those things, man?
Is there like a
what do we? Yeah, is there a YouTube Emmys that we need to know about? How do we sign up for that program?
Look at her shine. Isn't that nice? This is what happens when you work with great people at MSG Network. Is that these things happen. Now that's only 4. I got a little dynasty going here. I do need 5, and I believe we have a shot at something. I don't know. I can't remember now if we did or we didn't, but I'll double check. But I think there are awards for YouTube and stuff.
No, they are. Yeah, there are. Yeah. I want the Emmys, man. The Emmys, it's glistening in the light, man. I like how it's shining back there.
That is what it's all about, isn't it? In the end, all the hard work, and you like to have a little something to show off for it. But hey, you guys keep having shows with this kind of energy, you'll get there.
Thanks again, man. Alan Hahn, appreciate it. Everybody in the chat, throw a 1 in the chat for Alan Hahn, man. That was fantastic. Alan, thanks again, man.
All right, appreciate you guys.
All right, that was Alan Hahn.
What?
Jay Ellis, man. What do you say, man? What do you say to that?
Man, I'm not. I can't get used to this, man. I don't know if I can get used to this, man.
Well, let me get you in here. Salute to everybody that was watching. That was a special edition live stream featuring Alan Hahn of MSG Networks, man. Let me just get Jay Ellis back in here.
What?
Really cool. Really cool, man.
That was mad. He's mad cool.
Yeah,
like cooler than I expected.
That was really good stuff, man. We definitely appreciate him once again for coming on and giving us some time. Salute to everybody watching, man. We had a lot of people, man. We had almost 400 people
man,
on YouTube watching us. We don't know if you guys are at work or where you guys are at. If you guys got jobs, thanks for sneaking away and spending some time with us. CK2K in the building. Shout out to CK.
Yeah, man. Shout out to everybody in my chat, man. Old Dog, Rashawn, Chris Coward, Chris, Michael Moss, Young Simba. Heavy, I see you jumping back and forth.
Shout out to Shells, man. Shout out to Shells.
Edward, shout out to everybody who came through, man. Can I shout out to everybody who came on the program who kind of helped build this momentum, man.
Yeah.
Like Chris Childs was a big.
Chris Childs, Begley. Tommy Beer, Mark Berman. Yeah, man.
Oh, man, this is crazy.
It's only getting bigger, but it's a collective effort because, like I said, without the viewers, without people like, share, and subscribe, this is why we ask you guys to like, share, and subscribe. You got to help us promote the show. If you're a fan of the show, if you're a fan, this is what we ask of you guys. Hit that thumbs up button as soon as you get into the live stream. Any video. Share these videos. Goes a long way. Share these videos with your fellow Knicks fan, and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of the next episodes. Let's salute some super chats.
Word.
Kurt Cobain just subscribed to the channel. He's back from the dead, I think.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, man. Come on, bro. We're bringing the dead back, J. Ellis.
Bringing the dead back.
That's how lit.
How are you not the best?
That's how lit the show is. We got people checking in from the grave. Shout out to Kurt Cobain in here.
Damn.
Nah, no disrespect, but shout out to him. Michael Parker, salute to Michael Parker, #1 fan of this show. He says salute to Jay Ellis, CP Alan Hahn. He asked the same thing that Will did. Did Frank solidify his spot on the team following his recent outing? I agree with Alan. I'm not going to point to the FIBA play to say that he solidified anything. #1, much of the competition was there wasn't NBA caliber. A lot of the guys in France's group coming out was like, they were playing Dominican Republic, who didn't even have Horford or Towns. They were playing teams like Jordan. Turkey wasn't really that strong this year. When they played the U.S., that was a nice sample.
Nice. But the only thing is, I don't know what it is about Kemba Walker, dog.
Yeah.
But like if you pull up the two Frank graphics, the NBA Frank and Frank's best game last season
was against Kemba.
In Charlotte.
Yeah.
18 points.
Kemba's gonna be angry, man. Kemba's gonna be angry come the home opener, man.
And Frank's best game in FIBA was against Kemba Walker again.
That's it.
I don't know what it is about Kemba's face that Frank likes, but
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, but Kemba's not gonna be too pleased with opening night, man.
But I'm saying, we got Kemba Walker, who Frank owns, right? And then we got Julius Randle, who owns Enes Kanter.
Oh, yeah.
Because Randle had dropped 45 on Enes Kanter, which is his season high last season.
Let's go.
I mean, between those guys, that season opener versus the Celtics is looking really good, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of opening night, we have 4 tickets left to the Knicks home opener. We're doing a suite on the chat. We're doing a suite on the Chase Lounge. For those of you who have not gotten your tickets, there's 4 tickets left. The link is in my video description. Click on it. The package is going to come with a ticket to the game on the suite on the Chase Lounge, food and beverages, Knicks meet and greet with an alumni player, and the free throws are back, Jay Ellis.
Oh, yeah?
A select group of fans are going to do the free throw. Another select group are going to have full court access, front court access to the pregame shoot around. It's an outstanding package. You're not getting that anywhere else. So come through and join us, man. We got people coming from all over the world coming to join us. It's going to be outstanding, man. Guillermo says, great show, great call. Guillermo, thanks for calling in. Couple more super chats. Michael Ray sent us some super chats. Thanks again, Michael Ray. Jam 3 Production sent us a $10 super chat, JLs. He says, salute to you guys. Good work.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Jam 3. Thumblicker, interesting name, sends us a super chat as well. Very interesting name. Very interesting name. Shout out to Sid Leonard, Uptown USA's own, sends us a $5 super chat. Super chats are rolling in, man. Appreciate you guys, bro. Kevin McLeod says, thanks so much for doing that. No problem, Kevin. Thanks for supporting. Manolo Bouquet, what's going on? Yeah, man. What else? What else on the horizon? I have a podcast I did with the guys at Posting and Toasting that should be out on the YouTube channel sometime next week. We got Jonathan Macri coming to the studio, JLs. Don't forget, this Monday we got Macri coming through the studio.
That's right.
Yeah. What do you guys want us to talk about with Macri, man? If you guys have any topics that you guys want us to cover, we'll certainly do so. Maybe we'll have like a fan sponsored topic that we'll discuss. We have some topics that we want to cover with him, but if you guys have anything in mind, certainly let us know, and we'll cover that as well.
Word.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to TM and Dave for putting this all together and getting the information out there.
Yeah, man. Shout out to everybody working.
Yeah, man.
And watch out. KOT show, Nigga Time show is coming back.
Yes, sir.
Definitely watch out for that. You might have CP on the program, so you
coming soon, man.
Yeah,
coming soon. But yeah, that's it, man. We know a lot of you guys got to get back to your regular lives. And so we just want to say, Andrew Back, thanks for the super chat. Much appreciated. You've been here. Salute to everybody that's watching. All the hashtag news. Thank you so much for joining. We hope that this won't be your last time. Like I said, this is the home of the diehard Knicks fan, man. This is the home where we talk about Knicks news, Knicks rumors, post-game analysis featuring live callers.
All live.
We got distinguished guest, Alan Hahn. We just had Chris Childs.
Who's next? We don't know.
Who's next? We don't know.
We don't know.
But the bottom line is we are working. This is where it's at, man. So we hope you guys continue to support us, continue to share these shows. Tell a Knicks fan if they're not here following us, you got to get in here, man. This is it.
This is the spot.
This is the spot, man.
Content.
Absolutely. So, JL, I'll kick it over to you. Oh, actually, go ahead and close out from here because I don't have your solo screen set up. So go ahead and close out from here.
All right, man. So, as you know, I run the Nick of Time show. We will be back bigger, better than ever, middle of October. But definitely check out for that. Links are in my description to all the platforms I'm on. SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, of course, and Stitcher. Everything, every place where you can watch podcasts, listen to podcasts. Nick of Time show is there. And watch out for
Hit
CPU.
that thumbs up.
For sure in there. And also, you know what? If you want to write, you're looking for writers, we have articles on the nickoftimeshow.com. So you can read some great Knicks content from my guy Ryan G. And also Dave Sheets is also wrote a couple of things.
Salute to Dave, man.
And did pretty well. I see you. He's in journalism school. Shout out to Dave.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, I think that's all I got. Also follow me on social media. I'm on where am I, CP? I'm on Instagram.
Everywhere, man. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Word.
Yes, sir, man. All right.
Follow me, man. That's it. Back to you, CP.
Appreciate it, man. And salute to everybody watching once again and supporting. Thank you again to Alan Hahn for joining us and giving us some words. Make sure if you guys are at work and you missed it on video, this will be available in audio format starting later today. SoundCloud. Oh, not SoundCloud. Google Play. Switcher. Stitcher. Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, all on the KnicksFanTV. You can listen to it, subscribe, leave us a review on iTunes as well. Like I said, Knicks Home Opener Suite event, the link to the tickets are in the link below in the video. So make sure you get yours. The merch is also open. The Mitch Please Tees, the new edition. Let me know what you guys think about the new edition, man.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
The new season of the Mitch Please t-shirt is available as well. So make sure you guys go ahead and get yours. And let's salute to some more people before we get out of here, man.
Word. Definitely. Oh man, I got mad merch coming out as soon as my store gets fixed.
Yeah,
man, I need developers are crazy, but I have mad merch coming out. It was supposed to drop a month ago, but it's coming.
Okay. Kevin Middleton, salute. Rome, appreciate all the help.
Yo, shout out to Rome. I saw you in BK yesterday. Shout out to you, though.
Absolutely, man. Mr. X, the Shells, thanks again for your help, man. The Shells, much appreciated. Who else you want to shout out, JLs?
Let's see, Michael Moss. I always got shout out Simba like 5 times. Just go, Gary Singh.
Gary, appreciate it.
Man, for repping. Thank you, Fritz, for repping and encouraging people to subscribe to the Nick Time Show. Thank you. Yeah.
That's it, man.
Yeah, that's it.
TM, appreciate it. We did see some questions from the forum. Sorry we didn't get to them. We kind of had to rush through and get to some things, and we want to prioritize the phone calls first. We'll get to those questions for the next show. So like I said, keep it locked here at KnicksFanTV. We got some more content that'll be trickling out. We'll run a replay of this show today at 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you guys want to jump back into the chat, I'll be in the chat as well if you guys want to talk some more. And yeah, man, appreciate it. Peace.